Right, great. So we are going to do some writing today. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna do the task 1. Okay.
I'm not prepared.
Sorry.
I'm not prepared myself
Okay, but
because I joined first time in your page.
sure. But are you preparing for IELTS?
Yes, I want to go to Canada.
Mm,
That's why I want to prepare myself for IELTS, and I want to make a very good score, like 6 to 7.
sure. All right. Do you know about the IELTS test?
Not mm, properly. I just research about that. There are 4 parts, but not properly starting
Mm.
learning things that what should I start from where I start.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I search different page, and like you, I join so many page to learn.
Right. Good. Okay, well, you come to the right place. So
I think so.
yeah, so today, well, I'm just going to do sort of a short lesson. We're going to look at, in the writing, IELTS writing, there's 2 tasks that you have to do. Do you know that?
Okay, I don't know. I just know that I have to do some writing, but there are 2 types. I don't know that before.
Yeah. So you have to do 2 different writing tasks.
Okay.
The first one is a sort of analysis task. Okay. You have some data that you have to analyze, talk about. Okay. It could be a graph or a chart, something like that. Okay. And you have to say, what does it show? And you have to explain,
Summarize the chart or
Yeah, that's right.
data.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right. So I'll give you an example. Can you see my screen?
No, not yet.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah. Yes, I can.
Okay, so sometimes it will be like this, like a bar chart. Okay, so you need to describe this, summarize this. Okay. Other times you might have a map or something like this,
Oh, okay.
and then other times you might have something like this,
Hmm.
and this is a
Yes.
process. Okay.
Yes, that is the process. Yes.
So your job, when you have this kind of task, this kind of question, you have to summarize the process. You have 150 words, and you
Okay.
have to explain what's happening and basically describe the process. Yeah.
Okay.
So today we're going to look at how to do that. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So the process can be, well, there's many different kinds of processes. If we think of cooking,
Yeah.
do you cook? Are you a cook?
Yes, sometimes.
Yeah. So if you follow a recipe, for example, that's
Yes.
a process, isn't it? Yeah,
That's
step by step. First
yeah.
do this, then you do this, then you do this. Finally, you have
There is
your
a result. Yes.
exactly. So that's what we're talking about. The process. Now, there's a few things to remember when we have to describe this process. The first thing is that you have 150 words, which is actually not very many words. It sounds like a lot, but it's not really. So it essentially that means that you can't talk about each step individually. There are simply too many steps to
Yes.
talk about. Yeah. So what you need to do is think about how you can sort of group the steps together into
Okay.
sort of larger steps, right? So what is a logical way to combine 2 or perhaps 3 steps into a larger one? That just gives you a bit more control with your writing, and it also means that you're not talking, you're not jumping from one step to the next step to the next step to the next step to the next step, which
Yes.
this doesn't sound very good
Oh.
when you write it. That's one thing to bear in mind. Another thing to bear in mind is the grammar that you'll be using. Okay, so sequencing adverbs is something that you want to be aware of. I'm sure you're already aware of it. Let me just, okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sequencing adverbs, right? So sequencing adverbs are the words that we use to put things in order, right? Simply, first,
First.
then, finally, first of
Yeah.
all, to start with, secondly, thirdly, following that, following on from this, subsequently. These words you'll definitely use in this task, all right? Obviously, because you want your writing to be as logical and clearly organized as possible, especially if you're describing a process. You need to start at the beginning, right?
Yes.
And make sure that your reader can follow you in the right order till the end. It's very important. If you don't, then you miss a step or you go the wrong direction. That could spell disaster for your recipe or so it has to be very clear. That's the first thing to bear in mind. Sequencing adverbs. The next is the passive voice. Are you aware of the passive voice?
A little bit. In my primary school, secondary school, little bit. I am very afraid of grammar.
Yeah, most people don't like grammar. But I would say there's nothing to be afraid of. You definitely know what it is. You will have heard it before. And it's simply when we just change the emphasis of the sentence, right? So in this case, we have, we have the baker needed the dough. So, we have the agent, the person doing the action. And in this is what we call the active voice. Okay, but what we want to do is use this one. We want to use the passive voice. In this process description, we must use this passive voice. And that is when we focus more on the action that happened. The dough was needed. We don't focus on the person or the agent or the actor. Okay, that's not really necessary. It's not really important for our understanding of the process. We want to know what to do. We don't need to know who did it. So we use a passive voice to focus on what was done, right? So the active voice, we want to mention the person doing the action. So we don't want this. We want to use the passive voice. And that is when the person maybe who's doing the action is already known, yeah, or maybe it's not important, like, if somebody's making bread, for example, we know it's the baker. The baker's making bread, right? We don't need to actually say that. We want to just simply focus on what he is doing or she is doing. Okay, and of course, in a process, that's the key, what's going on, right? So it's all about making the process clear. Okay, making the steps clear by using the adverbs, making the actions clear by using the passive voice, right? So to make the passive, just very quickly, we use the verb be, be verb, and a past participle. Past participle is the third form, all right? So for example, eat, ate, eaten. That third form is the past participle, right? So the bread is put in the oven. The bread is eaten by the boy, right? Now, that's simply the passive, okay? Is plus a past participle. Or if it's a past part, it could be in the past, it could be was plus a past participle, right? It doesn't have to be present tense. It could also be past tense. But the point is, it's the be verb plus another verb, past participle form. So if we look, for example, down here, when we talk about making bread, first, the flour is mixed. So there is your passive. Then the mix is needed. Following this, the dough is proved or proven maybe, and the loaf is placed in the oven, right? So these yellow ones are the passive forms that we need. And the highlighted ones are the, sequencing adverbs. Okay, so essentially those are I would say the two main language items or grammatical items that you need to do this task. All right.
Yeah.
So bear that in mind. Okay, so back to our process. Now, how do we begin? Well, the first thing you need to actually do is explain what the diagram shows. So what does the diagram show? Bear with me. Okay.
Processing of wood.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so as you probably, or you might or may not be aware, I don't know, but normally you paraphrase the question at the beginning, right? To make your introduction. So you want to say something like, we can write this together now, you know. So you want to say that the diagram shows, maybe we can have a different word apart from shows. What do you think? Can you think of a different word? Yeah. Or explains. The diagram describes, yeah, and either one, it describes. And then we got the, what did you say before? The processing
of wood or timber.
Yeah, of timber into plywood.
Okay.
Yeah, that works very good. Okay, that works well. Okay, so there's our kind of first sentence. We also need an overall sentence. Overall, and in this sentence, we say something sort of generally about, we sort of give a general summary of the process. So what can we say generally without being too specific? I mean, what I mean is without mentioning any of the specific steps, rolling, heating, drying, sawing, without saying anything like that, we need an overall statement about this. So what can we say?
Overall,
I would focus on the number of steps. The number. So we're not being specific. We're not talking about individual steps specifically. We're talking about you know, the whole number of steps. So overall, how many steps do we have? Can you count them?
11. It's
Okay,
11.
that's right. So overall, there are 11 steps in the process of converting, I don't know, is it raw timber to a finished product, something like that, right?
Yes.
So that's your kind of overall statement. So you need a kind of first sentence, which opening sentence, which kind of says what is shown, and then you need an overall statement, which kind of gives an overview, but nothing specific about the actual steps involved. You know.
Yeah.
By sort of combining those two, you have a good overview for the reader of what's going on. Then, okay, this is when we go into talking about our using our sequencing adverbs and our passive voice. So we start now to actually describe the process. So how can we begin?
It's for cutting the timber.
Yeah. So we need to have a sequencing adverb. So which would you like to choose?
First of all.
Nice. Okay.
What to start with?
First of all?
No, start with.
To start with, okay. Okay, you carry on. So you can sort of describe to me, to start with, what happens.
We need to cut down. Timbers.
Good. So remember, we need to change that. Like what you said is we need to cut down timbers, right? We need to cut down timber. Okay. So let's think about the passive. The dough was needed. So
timber was
Yes, the timber.
What will be the verb? The timber was
Cut down is okay.
cut down. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay.
So is, because in a process like this, we should use the present tense.
Okay.
Unless we know that it has actually happened in the past. If you're describing a general process like this, keep it in the present tense, right?
Okay.
Timber is cut down. Okay, then what happens after that?
Uh, then
Mm-hmm.
cutting them into slice.
Yeah, okay. Then it is, again, we need to use the passive every time. So then
Uh,
it is
uh,
cut into
sliced.
manageable, let's say, yeah, manageable
Okay.
pieces or logs, I guess they're called.
Yeah.
And we need to go to the next step.
And rolling it to where? Rolling it
Yeah,
to rolling it
rolled.
somewhere.
I think, I'm not an expert in timber manufacture, but I think they roll it to perhaps make sure that it's round or to get any of the, any bumps or lumps off the
Okay.
outside of it, I guess.
Okay.
So it's cut into manageable pieces and rolled to ensure it is smooth, something like that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Then we need to think, okay, we have 11 steps. So what we've done is basically
Yes.
combined, I guess, combined 3 steps, right?
Yes.
So which other steps are we going to combine?
Plantation timber cutting and rolling.
Okay, so we've done that one. That was kind of our first one.
Yes.
From the other ones, which ones should we combine, do you think?
Heating, debarking, tying, swing. Maybe heating or debarking in one group, and after drying, swing,
Mm-hmm.
and clattering in second group.
Yeah.
Cold process, hot process, and coding.
So
Coding will be the last group.
you're gonna go like this, 2, and then you're gonna go like this.
Yeah.
Is that right? 3, and then you're gonna do this one, and then one more. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
we cut.
think so.
Yeah, I mean, in some way, it doesn't necessarily matter exactly how you group them. The best way to do it is to think about what's the most logical way to do it. Which ones make sense together.
Okay.
So, but as long as it's clear to your reader what's going on, that's really the main key, right? So,
Okay. Yeah.
we do it as clearly as possible for the reader to understand, right? Start with the
Yes.
timber is cut down, then it's cut into manageable pieces and rolled to ensure it's smooth. Okay. We need
Yes.
another. We need another. We need another adverb. So
After that,
yep. You tell me you tell me what to write. So after that,
we heating the sliced pieces.
the logs. Normally, the logs is what we get out of a tree. The logs are heated and
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
and
Barking.
debarked to remove the outside portion, yeah, of the wood, something like that, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So remember, keep it in the passive. The logs are heated. The logs are debarked. The logs are cut. The logs are rolled. Everything in the passive voice. Yeah.
Yes.
Once this has been done, what happens next?
Um, we need to dry the logs,
Mm-hmm.
dried out the logs and sewing them and
Yes.
sawing them. Yes, it's saw. Yes, Adam, it's sawing them.
Yeah, so the debark, I guess we could say debark sections of wood are first dried, would you say?
Yes,
And then
what is the past participle form of saw?
so
I don't
it's
know.
regular,
Okay.
then sword, to the requisite. So we can always add little things like this: requisite size and shape. We don't have to be just explaining everything like what step by step. We can add in little details like this, right? Then sort to the requisite size and shape, whereupon they are flattened by what?
By
What's this thing?
it's machine.
Yeah, flattened by machine to yeah, make them manageable, I guess. In terms of construction and stuff, they need to be flat, don't they?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's one kind of step we put together, those three. Are we going to go with the next step now?
Yes, processing.
Okay. So pressing, right?
Yes, pressing. Oh yeah, it's pressing.
Pressing
Oh,
and finishing.
didn't put the zoom out. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
cold pressing.
Okay. So what can we say?
Uh, uh, flattened.
Mm-hmm.
Flatter.
The flattened wood panels, I guess
Flatter.
they are, right?
Yes. Go through the cold process.
Good. I think we could put are put through because we need to keep it in the passive voice. The cold pressing process before moving on to what do they move on to after that?
Hot pressing and finishing.
That's right. Flattened wood panels are put through the cold pressing process before moving on to the hot pressing, and finally the finishing stage, I guess, right? And then we could say the final.
Coding and dispatch.
Yeah. The final step is when the panels are coded and then dispatched.
Yeah.
Ready to be used in, I don't know, various construction, I guess. It's projects, right?
Yes.
Something like that. Oh, my spelling's terrible today. Okay, good. Okay, there we go. So that's it. And that is it. Okay.
I'm very happy
Yeah,
that
that's
I
what
can do little
you
bit.
can do it. You can do it. Yeah, you know, it's not actually that difficult. Right? People think, okay, it's difficult. It is difficult, but when once you understand, you know, simply that it's describing the steps simply, right? It's not that complicated. It seems complicated or scary or something like that, but it's not that difficult, you know. But please bear in mind this is only one type of task one question, right? As I said at the beginning, you may have to describe a graph, or you may have to describe some maps, or you may have to describe a line graph or pie chart. There are lots of different types of possible question that you could have in the exam. It's not always going to be a process. It depends on the day. Right? So it's important that, you know, you also understand what to do in this situation and what to do in this situation, because it's a little bit different.
Different. Yeah.
You know, each type of data needs a different response, you know.
Mm.
But for process, in terms of process, it's going to be like this:
Yes.
in opening question, and then, you know, overview,
Yeah.
and then
Information.
the specific stages of the
Yeah.
process. Yeah.
Is it the first class of your page?
No. We've had quite a lot, actually.
How I get the other class?
Sorry.
How I get the other class? In your page, Facebook page?
Yeah, you can see some of the videos from there, and then some of the answers and things that we've written as well are on there. There's also my YouTube. There's a YouTube channel.
Okay, yeah, I know. Can you please give your YouTube channel link in
Yeah,
message
sure,
option?
sure. I can see if I can find it. Just give me 1 second. I mean, if you just sort of Google ISP IELTS, you should.
ISPS, okay.
Yeah, if you go on the,
I'm
you know,
going
on the
to,
Facebook, there'll be there's links and things like that to it on the Facebook page, so you can sort of have a look on there and see the, you know, different links and things like that, and you can find it there.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to like to the page.
Yeah, that would be
After
great. And
class
then
session, I'm going to like that.
thank you. Yeah, and we you know, like doing this every Sunday.
Okay.
So, you know, yeah,
I-
come back
On this time,
next week. Come back next week. Yeah.
yeah, inshallah, it will be because I am COVID positive.
Oh,
Um,
really? Oh, sorry to hear that.
yeah, before last 3 days, I'm a
Mm.
bit sick, but I want to focus on my goal that I need to go. You know,
Sure,
I
sure.
have to finish my IELTS preparation.
Yeah, well, good luck. I hope you feel better.
Thanks.
And yeah, hopefully see you next Sunday as well.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
yeah, I'll put a, you know, a advert on the page, and you can see what time and everything like that next weekend. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Thanks very much. We'll leave it there today. Well done.
Thank you too.
All right. See you.
See you.
Bye
Tata.
bye bye bye.